To get started, first we're gonna clean our leeks. So leeks are a delicious vegetable, but very dirty. So you have to really make sure that you clean each layer to get all the dirt out. So how we're gonna do that today is we're gonna start, we're gonna cut off the ends, discard those. We don't need those. And most of the dirt is in the first couple layers. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a small knife and just gently cut the first, I don't wanna cut through, I just wanna cut the first layer off and get this layer off completely. Because this is where all the dirt is, you could see that. We wanna get all of those off. So we're gonna cut a couple of these off. Again, be careful, you don't wanna cut through. You just wanna make sure that we're just taking off that layer. So, see all that gross dirt? We're gonna do a couple more right here. And of course, we're gonna wash these too, but we're gonna cut those off. So I'm gonna probably do about 4 of these layers, cut them off. That one comes off, and now this is the more tender part of the leek. So I'm gonna take these off. The top here is a little bit hard, so I'm cutting that one off. Now we're gonna cut in about 2 inches, so 2-inch pieces. So I have 4 of these, okay? So now, next step is, we're gonna rinse it in a bowl of warm water here. And what we're gonna do, to really get all the layers of the dirt out, we're gonna take the center of this leek right here that you can see, and we're gonna gently press it like this to get all the layers, and then rinse all that dirt out. And that way, we're gonna press that back in and do it again on the other side. And this will make sure that our nice, big, thick pieces of leeks are staying intact, but we're getting all the dirt out. I'm also gonna soak it in more water, but at least I got all the layers out there. So I'm gonna leave that in the water. So we're doing this for each one of our pieces of leek. So when you're serving this dish, we're gonna use 4 pieces of chicken breast, and we're gonna slice them in half. So really we're making 8 smaller pieces of chicken, and I'm also making 8 nice pieces of leeks that we're gonna put on top. So now I have all of our leeks cleaned. You could see the dirt, the bottom of this bowl, but now our leeks are nice and clean, and we're gonna throw them into our stock pot to make our sauce. We're gonna add our leeks to our pot, and we're gonna cover them with about 6 cups of water. Just enough water to cover our vegetables. Put that on high heat. 2 tablespoons of butter, unsalted butter, 1/2 cup of white wine, 2 tablespoons of chicken base. Dilute that in the water. And we're gonna let this come to a nice simmer, and we're gonna cover it and let it continue simmering for about 20 minutes until our leeks are fork tender. For our chicken, we're gonna use 4 chicken breasts. We're gonna cut them in half because we wanna pan fry them, so you don't want them so thick. So we're gonna cut these in half. When you're working with chicken, really make sure that this knife and your cutting board are gonna go in the dishwasher, and we really sanitize the counter before touching anything else. So we're gonna cut these in half, and this will really help with cooking them quicker. Now we have 8 chicken fillets. I'm actually gonna move them right over here. I'm gonna wash my hands, and then we're gonna get started with pounding out our chicken. So to pound out our chicken, I've laid down some saran wrap on top of my cutting board. You can use parchment paper as well. I'm gonna lay our chicken down here. So we really need to tenderize this chicken. It's gonna help with the flavor, it's gonna help with cooking, and cooking it evenly, because we wanna pound out the fatter parts of the chicken. So put this down, and I'm going to put another piece of saran wrap down on top. So that way, when we're pounding out our chicken, we don't have chicken juice flying all over the place. Sometimes when I'm in a rush, I'll do that too, and then I'm all dirty. So Now that we have it covered, we're gonna pound down our chicken. Make sure you always get the fatter part of the chicken, meatier part, so we can tenderize that. Get out all your anger from the day. Pound that one, okay? Flip it. One more time. By the time you get your chicken ready and frying, your leeks will be ready. So you have those on the stove. Cover that again. Pound them out one more time. Perfect. Now we're ready to flour chicken and get it ready to pan fry. I have to go wash my hands again, and then I'll salt and pepper the chicken. Salt our chicken, little salt, little pepper on both sides. Some people add the salt and pepper to the flour, but I just like to do it directly onto the meat. I'm gonna do a little salt here too. Now we're gonna flour it. So this is just lightly flouring the chicken, both sides. Shake off any excess. And I'm gonna put it right here in this pan. And I'll take it over to the stove to pan fry it. So we're just gonna lightly flour that, shake that off. And this dish is, the sauce that we're making with the leeks. To me, I love the leeks, I love the flavor of them. But if you didn't like leeks, you can easily make this with other vegetables too. Sometimes you can add artichokes if you like. And it's the same preparation. You're making the same sauce, but just changing the vegetable instead of the leeks. So you can also make a great sauce just like we're making today, but add some capers, something else that would add a green to the dish. So this is ready. We're gonna go over to the stove and pan fry them. So we're ready to pan fry our chicken. You can use canola or vegetable oil. Once our chicken has a nice golden brown color and we've checked the internal temperature to be 160, or you could just cut it a little slice in there to make sure that it's fully cooked, you can remove this chicken from the pan, shaking off any excess oil, and we're gonna put it right into a serving platter. We've cooked our chicken, and now we're gonna check our leeks. So our leeks are completely cooked. Checked it with a fork. You can see them right in here. I'm gonna take the leeks out. Oh, they're nice and soft too. Take that leeks out. Take them, and I'm gonna put one right on top of each chicken piece. And I'm only doing that because I know that I've cut 8 pieces and I have 8 pieces of chicken. A nice sweet flavor. The leeks are nice and tender. And once we remove them out of this, we're gonna be able to make our sauce a little bit thicker now. So I've removed all the leeks out of this sauce. So I'm gonna put it back onto medium heat. And next I'm gonna do cornstarch slurry. 2 tablespoons of cornstarch in 1/4 cup of cold water. Dissolve that. I'm gonna whisk that into this. To thicken up our sauce a little. And I'm gonna put it back onto the heat just so that it can cook the cornstarch and thicken the sauce a little. So our sauce is ready. I'm gonna put this, ladle it right on top of our chicken and leeks. Nice flavor to our chicken. There we go. And if you serve this with starch, rice, or even a potato. I mean, I normally serve this with rice, and then I would use this broth to go on the rice as well. And this dish is ready. For this recipe, visit nikkigleckis.com, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. To get started, we're gonna use about a 3-pound chicken. Just rinse it, ready to go. 3 celery stalks that you're just gonna peel off the leaves, clean it, chop that in half. 3 whole carrots, just peel those. And just 1 onion, cut in half. And we're gonna put this right in a pot with about 2 inches of water above the chicken, a little salt, and we'll let it boil for about an hour. In our soup pot, we're gonna put our chicken, our carrots, celery, onion, and I'm gonna pour enough water to be about 2 inches over the chicken. I'm gonna put in about a teaspoon of salt into this pot, cover that, and let it cook for about an hour. Our chicken will take about an hour to be ready, but while it's boiling, you can see that rapidly boiling there, we're gonna skim some of the fat off the top. And you know it will be ready when the chicken is actually separating from the bone and it's nice and soft. Our chicken and vegetables are fully cooked. So I'm gonna strain this all out of the pot and put it right in this Pyrex dish to cool. That looks great. Take all of these out. I'm gonna turn off the heat and let the vegetables and chicken cool while we're making our chicken soup. While our chicken and vegetables are cooling, we're gonna put our rice up to cook and then get started on our soup. So we have 6 cups of water, 2 teaspoons of olive oil, a teaspoon of salt, and we're gonna let that boil and then add in our 2 cups of rice. To our soup, we have our already made chicken stock, but we're gonna add to that 8 cups of additional chicken stock. And I used low sodium chicken stock. I added a teaspoon of white pepper instead of black pepper when we're doing a white sauce or a soup. I put our soup up to a medium heat, and now I'm going to do a cornstarch mixture to add to the soup to make it that velvety consistency that Avgolemono has. We're gonna use 1 cup of water and about 4 tablespoons of cornstarch. And we're just gonna whisk that together and add it to our soup. So this will help with thickening the soup. So when we add our lemon and egg, we'll make it a little bit thicker. I'm gonna slowly whisk in our cornstarch on medium heat. And you wanna bring this back to a boil so that it can cook our cornstarch. So we're gonna let that boil. I'm gonna cover that, and we're gonna get started on our Avgolemono. For our Avgolemono, we're gonna use 6 eggs. We're gonna separate our egg yolks and our egg whites. So we're only gonna use for this our egg yolks, and the egg whites I'm gonna put in our refrigerator. I'll just use them for breakfast tomorrow, so we don't waste anything. We're gonna use an electric mixer and mix those egg yolks first before we stir in our lemon. We're gonna slowly whisk in about a cup of lemon juice. We're gonna get that nice and frothy before we temper it with our broth. I've ladled out some of our hot broth, and I'm gonna slowly pour this in while the electric mixer is on to temper the eggs. I'm gonna add our Avgolemono to our broth. Oh, it looks great, beautiful color, nice and frothy. I'm gonna give that a little whisk, and then we're gonna strain this, a very important part, so that we can make sure that our soup is just nice and velvety and no little pieces are left in there from our chicken stock that we made earlier. So now our soup is finished. I've taken it off the heat, and I'm going to strain it into this other bowl just so that we can make sure we get out anything that's left over from when we were making our stock. Leftover chicken or anything else that was in there. We're gonna just discard all of this. And now our soup is just nice, smooth and velvety texture. Now that our soup is ready, we're gonna go clean our chicken and chop up our vegetables. Now that our vegetables and our chicken have cooled, we're going to take just our celery and our carrots. All the onion that we cooked, it's delicious. If you want, you can put it in the soup, but my kids don't like it and we didn't use it at the restaurant, so I'm just gonna discard the onion and just grab all of our celery and carrots. I'm just gonna take all the meat and discard any of the skin and the tendons. For me, this is like a satisfying thing to do. My kids get a little grossed out, so don't recommend this part of the soup making with your kids. Maybe have them just stir the soup or something. This is such a delicious soup. I know some people tend to only use, like if you're trying to do this in a faster way or process, a lot of people will just use chicken breast, but I really feel like the chicken, the whole chicken gives it so much more flavor. So I like to try to do it, a larger quantity. So today, this soup recipe is gonna make about 20 servings, but I'm gonna serve it for dinner tonight, and I'm gonna separate the rest into quart containers. And then I'm gonna put those in the freezer and just kind of pull them out throughout the year. It's such a great comfort food when it's raining or chilly out, or if you're not feeling good. It's really the ultimate sick kind of soup. It gives you such all the nutrients and vitamins, but it also tastes delicious too. When my kids were little, I would take quarts of this home, and this is what I would give them as their baby food, because it has celery and carrots, they get some rice, chicken, and then the egg and the lemon. And it was just really funny because people would be like, oh, what are you feeding your kids? Oh, Avgolemono, isn't that what everybody feeds their kids? So they grew up eating this, so that's great. I'm also using the white and dark meat. Some people may only want to use one or the other, but you can do whatever you like in this. Some people will use different vegetables, depends on where you grew up and which part of Greece, what vegetables you had available to you. Another variable is rice versus orzo. A lot of people will say, oh, I used to make that with orzo. You can use either one. There's no right or wrong way with this. So some people also shred the vegetables. I like to dice it. I think it just gives it, it just looks nice in the soup, and it just has even parts of celery, carrots, and the chicken I just dice as well. So I'm gonna chop up some parsley on top to garnish it. This is such a delicious soup, but sometimes when you're making these soups especially, people get full really quickly. So come up with some fun ways to serve this as an appetizer. You can use mini espresso cups or little shot glasses even, and you can serve this as an appetizer, or when guests are arriving in your house, you could just do a little soup sip of Avgolemono. I don't know anybody that's ever tried Avgolemono and has told me they didn't like it, so I think you can try that at your next party. We have our finished soup, and I'm gonna add in our rice first. I'm gonna add in our chicken and our vegetables. We're just going to taste this to see if we need any more lemon or salt. So if you were hosting a cocktail party and you wanted to serve this soup, you can just put this right in these little mini shot glasses, and you can serve some soup sips to your guests. I'm gonna pour them in here so you could see, and garnish with a little parsley. If you were doing this for a soup sip, I would just recommend dicing up really finely the vegetables and the chicken, just so it's not too big for people when they're grabbing this.